Oh, here's my background. It is snowing. I don't think I have a spout source, do I? Or what's it called? Not spout. The other thing. Oh, do I have to set my thing to be live, or my Twitch dashboard with genre before I start? Because otherwise things get messed up. Yeah, okay, let's do that. All right. Oh, I have to go live. Start. Scripts. Date. Nice. All right. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, guys. It has been a week. That's okay. Oh yeah, I discovered what was it called? The Creon Conquest, which is a game by who made this game? Taito? But I think a lot of people were like, this is a Mega Man ripoff, and it certainly borrows quite a lot. Oh, it's Tokai Communications. It more than borrows quite a bit, but I think there's a lot that it does on its own, and there's some stuff it does that's pretty cool. But yes, if we're honest, there's like gameplay. There's like gameplay segments, stages, and enemies that are basically reskinned Mega Man 2 enemies. So, but it does give you the ability to shoot up. I do like the reflecting weapons, stuff like that. That's one on my to-do list, or to check out anyway. I've also been playing some Metal Gear. I've been putting together a Metal Gear like challenge run type thing. So I might post that up in like the Reddit or Steam community forums. I don't know where the Metal Gear community really hangs out these days. It has been like 8 years, right? So that's something to consider. I need sock. I might need sock. Hang on. I don't know. Is there a way? Is there a way to stop all this crazy growing and shrinking based on camera position? Probably not. That's okay. Ugh. You know what? I should put. Why don't I put this chat over to the other side? Ooh. Wait, is it coming? Oh, it is coming. All right, cool. Cool. All right, let me bring this up. I saw this the other day. Oh, actually, you know what? It's under bookmark. I think I bookmarked it. Yes. Okay, here we go. All right, but before we get into that, I have a couple of housekeeping things to do. I need to figure out how to pin batch file to Windows Start menu. Yeah, I just want to pin it. Yeah. Pin a batch file to taskbar. Create create a shortcut. Right-click on the shortcut properties. Yeah. Properties right into the start of the target field. Explore. Oh. Oh. Well, I guess that makes the parent explorer, but that should be okay, right? It's okay if the parent processes explorer, I hope. Go to manage, browse local files. Okay, so there's the shortcut. Got it. And then I have to properties this thing. That's weird. Yeah, that's a target. Into the start of the target field. Oh, I see. Okay, got it. So I just need to prepend it. Windows, Explorer, buddies. Apply, cool. I guess it just can't point to a batch file. That's kind of weird. That's then to start. Yeah. Sick. Yeah, let me unpin that guy. So I'll call this VTube Studio No Steam. Yeah. Can we do that? It doesn't update the name. Balls. Oh my god. Seriously? What can that be? And then, then I need to clear out start in. Is that the problem? Okay. Then do I need to update the shortcut maybe? Ugh. Start. Oh, why is it using relative paths now? Oh, I do need that directory. I don't. Maybe I'll just pin it. Maybe I'll just pin it as is, and then we'll. Isn't there just a create shortcut? No? It's not share. It's, I did a send to desktop to create shortcut. But I don't want it on my desktop. Okay, there we go. And I'll just pin this to... Just call it VTube Studio. Let me pin this to start. Oh, I can't. Ugh. I'll deal with this later. Well, I should deal with it now. I should deal with it now. Yeah, it's not doing it though. Did that run? No, it doesn't. Yeah, why doesn't it use the full path? Can you not start, Maybe you can't start Explorer in a different, path, and then this batch, this batch file, okay. You know what, I bet I have to edit this batch file. Yes, I do. It needs an absolute path. I could just add the batch file then. Let me do that. Yeah. Well, I can't. Ah. Whatever. Not that bad. Maybe. So I also wanted to make a silly plugin for a game that I've been playing. The Super VHS upcoming game. This tea is really good. This tea is like okay on the first brew. It's the Ahmad tea, Royal Garden, I think it's called. And it's like okay on the first brew, but on the second brew, it's amazing. It's a mass market tea, so it's not like quite as nice and complex as single estate, whole leaf type stuff, but it's still really good. It's a daily drinker. It's a very good morning breakfast kind of tea. Oh my god, Discord. Discord ruins everything. Please stop Discord. Also, it's is it still running? I can never tell if Discord is still running minimized in the tray. But whatever. Yeah, there's like a big deal about if multi-streaming is actually working. I don't know. Like if it's even worth it, right? Because you get more audience involvement in Twitch, but you do have a wider net multi-streaming. I don't know. I was watching Super Meche yesterday, and she has a multi-setup that combines chat, which I don't remember if that's TOS or what the heck's going on there. Who knows, honestly. But it seems to work out pretty well there because you get decent participation on both ends and it just compiles everything, right? I think that's really helpful. Okay, so what I need to do here is I need to copy this. Okay, and then I should put this on screen, huh? I'm still using Notepad++. What? Do I have Vim on this thing? I must, right? Please tell me I have Vim. I don't. I don't. What can I do here? Oh, I know. Close that. Nice. Yeah, some nice person on the NecoWeb Discord helped me figure out that what I needed was task spooler. Like I have a downloader script going, or I can just queue up download tasks using task spooler and then just see how they're doing and queue them. It's super cool. I highly recommend it. This is I was able to install it via Homebrew too, so I have it on Mac. It's pretty cool. All right. Wait, what was that thing? What was that game I just said? Not. Yeah, I put Spider-Man Separation Anxiety on here too, because that's a game I do want to replay. Contra Second Loop I did play. Mega Man 2 I did play. Those are done. Just put it on to like done or something. I don't know. Where am I? All right, how can I add this so that you guys can see it? Hang on, where's my Steam directory? Where is this? This? Can I do this? Yes. Yes. Okay. Let me get that thing on here. Terminal group. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's even like reasonably sized for what I want. Is that good? Too still too big. It's like way too big, actually. Dang it. Oh, there we go. It's like close enough, right? Alright. Start without. Oh, let's move. Start without Steam. B2. Start. No. B-tube. BT. B-tube. Studio. No Steam. No Studio. No Steam. Yeah. So I need an absolute path to this guy. About this. About this. Let's do that. How's that look? Properties. Wait. Properties. No. What? Oh, I need to make a shortcut to this. So elaborate. Let me go to desktop, grab it. Grab it. Then I go properties. This is so many steps. Just so I can have this thing on my start menu. Window / Windows. Explorer.exe. Why? How does this run? Does the no Steam have to go in quotes? Is that the problem? Doesn't want me to run this. Oh, it probably thinks that's an argument to Explorer and not to YouTube Studio. Did that work? Did that work? Is this working? I don't think it's working. All right. I don't need to do that right now. All right. No problem. Wait, what the heck? Sorry. All right. Let's go. Let's go time. Actually, I'm gonna have to move chat over here again. Oof. About that. Okay. All right, let's close those tabs. Finish my tea. me resize this thingy. I don't need audio. I need Firefox though. There we go. All right, so it's what FGC opinion will you defend like? Can I change the size of the font? Ugh. All right, that is the topic for today. All right, quick idle meeting. I'll be right back. I was muted. It's party time now. Party time now. All right. So I saw this in Reinhardt's tweet. I looked at the first response. I was expecting something really dumb, and then it actually made me think a lot. So I was considering that maybe it was worth a deeper discussion, you know? Also, what's best practice for viewing Twitter on stream? Like, are people just gonna post like not safe for work on here? Maybe I should like hide it and then re-show when we're talking about the next tweet. Is that reasonable? Is that what people do? I know in general you don't want to just keep your browser window up, right? Because basically literally everything is just going to show your email address and your location and everything. Because that's the world we live in. All right. Yeah. Okay, let me hide this maybe. Okay, yeah, let me open some of the good ones in tabs. All right, let me open these ones in tabs. Uh-oh. Wow, there's like a lot of these. That's crazy. There's like so many of these things. Like herding cats. All right, some Thanksgiving planning. Make sure I have enough ingredients. I don't think it's gonna be a crazy Thanksgiving, but you know, better safe than sorry. Whoops, not Twitch. YouTube. The problem is going to YouTube, I can never tell if I'm live. Okay, great. Awesome. All right, let's go. I think I got all the ones I want to respond to. Yeah, there's some of these that are on there's some of these that are about games I don't play. Like I haven't played Mortal Kombat since like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, so I'm not gonna weigh in there. I have no idea. I have no idea what's broken in any of those games. All right. Well, yeah, let's go with that. There's a bunch. There's a bunch here. We'll just go with this. All right. All right, first up. Virtua Fighter's the last pure fighter left with no comebacks. All right, Virtua Fighter is the last pure fighter left with no comebacks. That alone makes it the best 3D fighter. So is Tekken's comeback mechanic Rage Arts? Is that the comeback mechanic in it, I guess? So here's my issue with this is that if you look at Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution versus Final Tune, right? And if you look at Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla versus Final Showdown and then Ultimate Showdown, in both cases, I think they upped the combo damage. And that's really flashy, that's very cool, but it is, like, it still requires execution, of course. But it is kind of a comeback mechanic when you're always one big hit away from being able to win the round. So that's like the thing that I don't actually like that much about Final Showdown is some of those combos are so huge that it is like landing an X Factor combo in Marvel almost. It requires a ton of execution. It requires, a counter hit or like a wall setup. So it does require planning and you have to get it exactly right. But I think they made it so that there's more of a comeback possible in Final Showdown that compared to Vanilla. And that's so I don't know. I think they reset it every so often. Like going from Final Tune to VF5 Vanilla, I think was a bit more of like a neutral heavy kind of game with shorter combos, which I kind of prefer. But I guess if you're comparing it to everything else that has like a really, it's not a built-in comeback mechanic, right? It's just the combos tend to be longer, counter hits tend to be more brutal. Wall splat combos and things like that just got better, like across the board. I think regardless of character, they're all better in Final Showdown because that's the direction they went in. And then, whether that's right or wrong, I think that was their answer to comeback mechanic. So I don't know. It is what it is. So I think this is somewhat true, but in other ways, I think it's not. Alpha 3 is better than Alpha 2 and Third Strike. So I read this and I was like, no way, absolutely not, because I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Third Strike fan, right? But thinking about it, I was like, okay, what are my problems with Alpha 3? It has a huge cast, some of which aren't good, but I mean, it's not like I can really say that Third Strike has a very balanced roster either, right? It's one of the most famously imbalanced rosters next to like MVC2, right? So it's not, I can't hold that against it. So I think is V-ism busted? And so I think the real question is, are you wasting your time by playing X-ism or A-ism? So looking at that a bit, there was a video I found that was pretty interesting. That was gosh, what was it? It was like it was about the damage scaling in Alpha 3's A-ism ism damage scaling, maybe. Okay, so you do get like that is like super turbo levels of damage, right, on that one combo if you land a jump in. And then, so Vism, you do less damage. Does it matter? I mean, I think Vism's meter build is also different. And then the advantage of how much invincibility you get, which has been tuned in other versions of the game. So to some extent, you could say this does not really apply. So I don't know. Like, this is not that crazy, actually. Because they did nerf Vism effectively in some of those other versions, and then the damage scaling too. I don't know if it's enough, but as long as it makes it so you're not like wasting your time playing one of those other things, I think it's fine. I don't really care for the neutral that much, but that's kind of preference. I like Third Strike's neutral, but you know, I don't know. It's certainly not as I think it's wrong to dismiss this out of hand. Because I loved Alpha 3 at the time, and then sort of I just appreciated the gameplay depth of Third Strike, but I think I definitely wrote it off. Oh, the other thing that's busted is like the crouch cancel combos. Like I think that's really dumb. What's it called? It's called crouch cancel combos. Like look at Karen combos. It's just dumb looking. It's like a. Is this it? Is this gonna be it? I think it is. Oh no, it's gonna. Oh yeah, so she's gonna do this. Oh no, is this? And then she's gonna crouch cancel it, right? No. Like, so I loved CVS 1, and everybody's like, roll cancels ruin that game, and you know, fair enough, because you're basically making every move invincible using a glitch or whatever. But it's you can walk to cancel. I just want a combo, man. Here, are we gonna see it? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, that was like some crouch. Yeah, so some characters have infinites, right? Yeah, this is crouch canceling, and it depends on your character's juggle, I guess. So after his combo's done, yeah, like this is silly. And look, he's even building meter. I think that's kind of dumb. So, like, you know, if roll canceling is banned or kind of like wreck that, I was like, yeah, you know, I think crouch canceling is dumb too, but I don't know. That's my personal preference. It's not like I'm gonna maintain a consistent position, because, you know, there's plenty of games that have ridiculous stuff in them, like X-Men vs. Street Fighter that I play. You know, that's busted. People have infinites, but you know, I'm not counting that among like a good game. That's just a game I like. So, again, he's not dissing Third Strike. He's saying that he likes Third Strike, thinks it's a great game. He just thinks Alpha 3 is better. You know? So, I don't know. I think there's some merit to this. I don't know if I agree, but I kind of agree. I'm not going to dismiss it out of hand. Art of Fighting 3 is the most innovative and underrated game in the 90s. I don't think I've played any of the Art of Fightings besides one. No. In the 90s. I mean, it's certainly underrated if it's good, because I mean, who's talking about that game? Yeah, I mean, VF4 is 2000s, so it's not that one. What's the most underrated game of the fighting game of the 90s? Fighting Lair? Underrated fighting. Yeah, the problem is if you look up underrated fighting games, like it's going to be like you have no guarantee that those games are going to be, or those opinions are going to be from people who play a ton of fighting games. It might just be like somebody's random favorite. Samurai Showdown, Waku Waku 7, Last Blade. I don't know. Primal Rage. Yeah, one must fall. I don't know that game's like competitively like interesting, but I had a ton of fun with that game. I don't know. I mean, a lot of World Heroes people out here. Yeah, I don't know. I maybe need to check out Art of Fighting 3, but I guess the question is who would I play it with, right? I could go on Fightcade and get dumpstered, but you know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have data on that one. Fighting games need to have a casual element in order to survive. True. Absolutely agree. I don't know if that's controversial, though. After MK9. MK9 came out, and suddenly you have the best-selling game of the year purely on, like, the story mode, instead of the story mode being an afterthought or whatever. I think everybody saw that and decided that they needed to have a response because they were ignoring story mode. Full stop. And then keeping people playing via free-to-play, stuff like that. Fighting games that people would not have bothered to look at suddenly become, you know, somewhat viable. I don't know how financially viable they are. I haven't looked at the numbers on things like... I haven't looked at the numbers on things like Grand Blue, right? Or what's the thing? What's the Project L called now? 2XKO. Because that's going to be free-to-play too, right? I think that's going to be the real test of free-to-play. But I think casual in general like keeps your game healthy. One interesting thing was Dragon Ball FighterZ, I think, was very casual friendly, and until like fairly, honestly, until a little bit before Sparking Zero launched, like people were still playing that game. Like I know if you look at the Steam numbers, you might be like, oh, lol, dead game, but honestly, people say lol, dead game this like a week after a balance patch lands. I think if you're getting games at all, then it's fine. And also, if you've lived through the fighting game quote unquote dark ages, then your definition of a dead game is going to be very different than somebody who like plays live service games because that's all they've ever known as an iPad kid / you know, free to play mobile live service gamer their whole life. That's all they know. They were not shoving a Dreamcast in a backpack like I was and you know, huddling around like the smallest TV possible for a couple hours of CVS 1 and Third Strike or something, you know? Like that's quote unquote dead game. The melty blood bathroom meme or whatever, you know? Like people keep their games alive. That's what it's about. And casual elements mean that, you know, a lot of these games are surviving much longer than they would have otherwise. Yeah, is that controversial after SF5's launch? SF4 getting people back in. SF4 was like such a huge success that I think it made it easy for people to jump in and suddenly pick it up because it was relatively beginner friendly. It had all the characters you remember. It wasn't them trying to pull a bunch of weird things out of a hat and introduce a bunch of new things right away. And it was like a very like fundamental based game. There were like focus was there, but it wasn't that crazy, I don't think. So yeah, I think this is the new state of the art. This is considered best practices now. I don't know if it's that controversial. Cross Tech Battle's fun. Don't know the game. I can't comment. I can't comment on that one. I haven't really played it. Grapplers are fun. Grapplers are fun. Grapplers are fun. Grapplers are usually, I think, fun to play against. Because, I mean, I think it provides... It's the same thing as zoners, right? In the moment, sometimes you're really frustrated. Like, if you play against a really good zoner, it can be very frustrating. But it provides really good variety because things would get boring if you were playing literally nothing but Shotos all day. Can you imagine if a fighting game was just like Ryu, and then Ken, and then Sakura, and then like all of these different flavors of Shoto? And then maybe a charge character. I think that would get really samey, and grapplers and zoners add to that variety. And those have been in since day one, right? I mean, I guess I'm counting World Warriors day one, but you know what I mean. I'm not counting Karate Champ or ER Kung Fu. I mean, you could say even ER Kung Fu had zoners, right? Yeah, true. Throw loops ruined SF6. Somebody gets throw looped once, and then they're like, throw loops ruined this game. And I mean, SF4 had crouch tech, but there were still people getting throw looped in SF6 or SF4. I don't know. I think this is scrub quote. Come on, man. I mean, it's a matter of preference. I don't want, maybe not scrub quote. It's a matter of preference. So, you know, I'm kind of coming over to this side because there's not a lot of invincible wake-up options in SF6, right? Like, sometimes you really do have to you have to hold the throw loop. You have to guess. Is every character's invincible their overdrive? Is that the trade-off, that you have to spend meter if you want the invincible DP? I don't know. I haven't really looked into it that much in SF6, so maybe I shouldn't have. Jury's still out. No matter what anyone says, defense will always be a greater weapon than offense. I think this is also state of the art, because the justification of fighting game developers is that defense is better, so they need to balance for offense, or they need to make offense better. It's true of FPSs too, like Apex and stuff like that tends to prioritize an attacker, because otherwise defense is too good. So I think most people will agree with this, unless they're saying that it's even including those balances, defense is still better. In which case, sometimes that's true. Like, I don't know how always. Like, if you're playing Third Strike Yun versus Chun-Li, there's no... You want to make the other player deal with your game. Playing a defensive game means that you are simply holding off losing. In other games, I think you could argue that defense is better, but I don't know. I don't know if I agree with this. You have should stand at 11's playstyle. 98. People love 98. Yeah, people love 98. I like 98, but I really, really liked 12 and 13. So that's kind of my goat of King of Fighters games. So I don't think I agree with that one. There's nothing wrong with modernizing a fighting game, and so far the only game that's gotten it correct is SF6. So what I brought up with SF4 before was that there weren't a ton of new mechanics. So I think a lot of people focus on whether controls throw people off or mechanics. And I think everybody focuses on execution And in reality, sometimes I think mechanics can do it. Because Dragon Ball Fighters had like Super Dash. It had like Super Dash and Sparking. And that was kind of the two main mechanics you had to learn. And meanwhile, you know, like Strive, I think a lot of people who are classic Guilty Gear fans, and I mean, I'm kind of a classic Guilty Gear fan. I play a lot of like Guilty Gear X and Guilty Gear XX Reload. But I don't know. I think those games like SF4 and Strive and like all these games that and Dragon Ball Fighters that reduce mechanics are also modernizing it. Because I think it's a hard, like, Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution and Guilty Gear X2 Reload and stuff like that, I think, are very mechanics heavy, so they are tough for new players to get into. So if we want to say modernizing a fighting game is simplifying, I think I agree there's nothing wrong with it, and I kind of disagree that the only game that got it right so far is SF6, because that's kind of just looking at execution and controls. And I think it's more complicated than that, right? I think like how approachable is a game? Because like if you do a bunch of stuff that your opponent does not understand what is happening, I think that can be very alienating. So, somewhat agree. Fighting games built now actually have better retention of players than any old fighting game. Yeah, probably. I mean, it depends. I think it depends on the player. Like, are people finding their new fighting games that they're going to stick with, like, for the next 5-10 years? Or are they moving from live service to live service, you know, depending on what launches and what looks cool and what other people are playing? I don't know. So I don't know. I also don't look at numbers. I don't see the value in it unless it's like I can't get a game. Why can't I get a game? Oh, like literally 0 people are playing. Okay, that's why. That's the only time I care about what numbers a fighting game is doing, to be honest. Guilty Gear Strive is a good game. I think it's also a good game. Just not a Guilty Gear game because the devs catered to all crybabies saying it's too hard. Maybe? I don't know if hard's the word I would use. I think it's technical. Probable spam Strive sucks. Wow, Twitter editorializing. I like Strive. I 100% understand why people do not. And when Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla came out, that was controversial, right? Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla was a big simplification of a lot of things that VF4 Evo did. And so people were like, oh, they're killing the game. They simplified the game. They surrendered to the babies who are crying, the cry babies. And I think Virtua Fighter 5 Vanilla is my favorite one. Because a lot of the things that were super technical in VF4 Evo, I don't think were fun. Like, it was a gatekeeping thing. Like, for technical skill, sure, there's like a higher ceiling, I guess. But it's not fun to input 3 throw breaks in like a quarter of a second. That's just not fun. And I don't see what it adds to the game. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I think that was dumb. I learned how to do it because I had to, and I didn't always get it right, but I think it's stupid. That's my hot take. Yeah, the VF4, like, throw, break, evade, ETG, like, that stuff's okay, but then, like, just, when you require the user to just do, like, 1 billion inputs in a second, it's like, okay, that's fine. But you're, like, what are you adding to the game? Besides, like, an artificial, like, execution barrier for, like, every little thing. I don't know, that stuff like, that stuff really makes me mad now, maybe because I'm old. I don't want to get like repetitive stress injury and tendonitis because the devs were like, oh, we decided you need to mash. We decided you need to mash like this super technical thing for no reason because we said so. I'm like, fuck you. Get out of here. Character tiers are often overemphasized and player skill matters more than we think. I question the obsession with tier lists. I feel that player skill often outweighs the difference between high and low tier characters. True. I mean, at almost all levels. At almost all levels. Yeah, I mean, people have been talking about tier lists since there were fighting games. And I don't know, one thing I really loved about like one of the reasons I got into Warframe was because while there are tier lists, it doesn't really matter. And while part of the issue, I think, is that it makes really good content for both Twitter and for YouTube to make a tier list video, because it's something that even a beginner or somebody who doesn't even play the game could sit down and watch and then hear about how a player feels about the meta. But I do think it creates a false perception of what's important in fighting games, the same way that frame data does. A lot of people are turned off of fighting games because they think it's frame data and they have to like sit there like an EVE Online player and do research and math just to play this video game. And really, you can make do with a lot of things like, oh, when this character does this move, it means it's my turn now and I get to push a button. Or when I do this move, I will get punished if I don't hit the opponent. If they block this, then I'm going to get punished, so this move is not safe. And that's kind of enough for a beginner to intermediate play. You don't actually need to know the frame data unless you're looking at optimal punishes and like really looking at... See, you don't even need to know frame data for a frame trap. You need to be like, this move is my frame trap go-to, and if I land it, I can now do more stuff and I beat the opponent if they try and mash jab. You don't need to know like how... Like, you don't need to necessarily know as a beginner player how plus it is. You just need to know that it's plus, right? Like, that's enough for people who are starting out and people who are overwhelmed by things like tiers and frame data. So the same way, I think, yeah, we should not be turning away new players because it takes a certain mindset of person who might find out that their favorite character or the character they thought looked cool and wanted to try is dismissed as low tier, because I think that might turn them off of playing it, right? Because they're like, why should I bother? So I think this is absolutely true. In almost all cases. Maybe at the pro level it's not, but we've had characters who were quote unquote low tier win majors in, many games. So it's possible. Are they fighting an uphill battle? Yeah, maybe. But they also have somewhat of an advantage in the sense that if a player develops like tech with a less used lower tier character, who is going to be able to practice against that tech? It's going to be hard. So optimal combos should be hard. I should not be able to pick up a new DLC character on day one doing everything they can do consistently. I agree, but the thing is, I think that there should be... So Virtua Fighter's combo system, I think, was basically the perfect skill curve between the skill ceiling and damage, where, doing a combo that's like 60% optimal is very easy, and then doing combo that's 70% optimal is harder, and doing combo that's 85% is much harder than that, and then doing combo that's 100% optimal is really hard. And realistically, you don't need to be going for that hard combo, and that's something that you can strive for if you really appreciate execution, to be like, yes, I'm getting every single drop of damage out of this hit. But really, and that's true of a lot of things, right? Dragon Ball FighterZ, like the auto combo system, is not bad. You get decent damage for even using the auto combo, so you can still play the game in a reasonable way. But if you want to do an optimal combo, it should be hard. I agree with this 100%. I don't think this is turning off new players. As long as new players have something that's easier to do, that's like not wasting their time. As long as the auto combo is not like really handicapping a new player, I think that's fine. I think this is absolutely fine. Ugh. Ugh. Ego and boastfulness should be part of the scene. Like, bring back heals, insults, and rudeness were always supposed to be part of the game. Also, if your tier list is something like S through B tier, you suck at tier list. So this gets into a larger point about how you market sports, right? I think when you make drama part of the scene, you do get more people in. But a lot of those people don't necessarily care about the game. So the question is, like, is it good or is it worth it, right? There's a lot of people, like when you're selling a pay-per-view fight in boxing or MMA, you have these guys say the wildest, most outlandish crap at the weigh-in. And then maybe they take a couple swings at each other at the weigh-in. It's like, it's so like staged. It's basically pro wrestling where it's like, oh no, he pushed him at the weigh-in at the press conference, and then he insulted the other guy's mom or whatever. And it's like schoolyard lunchroom crap. And then it gets people invested to be like, oh, this guy did this thing. He's a heel. Now I want to see him lose, right? And then they're just doing this to sell tickets. And then after the fight, if the guys are both professionals, they're like, oh yeah, I'll respect this guy. You know, it was a great fight. I respect him as a fighter, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay. So all that stuff that happened before was just like, you know, high school theater crap, you know? And so I think a lot of people fixate on that in fighting games too, that they want to establish narratives, and a lot of time, like there's been staged beefs as well where people were like straight up like, let's make this a pro wrestling thing, which I think was interesting, where they're actually just hanging out and friends, and they were like, hey, let's stage an online beef. For no reason than to like do that. Like, I think that's interesting. And honestly, to some extent, maybe Filipino Champ plays that up too. I don't know him IRL, who knows, right? But it's true that in order to have mass appeal, you do need moments and you need stories. And this person's saying it doesn't work when there aren't heroes and villains. And I think that's not true though, because you can have really, really impactful stories that aren't necessarily just pro wrestling, like face and heel stories. Like if you look at the stories of like Arslan Ash, like the Arslan Ash, like, you know, video essay documentary chronicling his story, he definitely comes off like an underdog, but it's not like face heel drama heat type stuff. It's like it's looking at an entire community and looking at the journey people take just to be on that stage, and you know, every single person in a bracket has their own story. And so I think that you need moments to some extent, but you can create stories without those moments too, I think. And some of those moments that are hype because of the gameplay, and that has nothing to do with story, right? Like when you see like Combo Fiend's bionic arm come back and you see an entire room like screaming bionic arm, right? Or if you see who's the Rocket Raccoon player? I'm blanking on his name now. It was at Evo. Oh, Kusoru Ageojo, right? When you see pro players, some of the best in the world, get hit by Rocket Raccoon's log trap, and suddenly their entire team is dead, like that's hype. When you see KBR, like Hagar backdrop into a comeback, that's hype. has nothing to do with the drama of losing the money match and blah blah. You know, like just that by itself, if you know that game is hype. These moments are necessary for people who don't know the game or maybe don't even care about the game and need a reason to show up. But I think if you have those things, if you show a highlight reel to people who do play the game and they get hype, that's because the game itself is hype for them. So those are moments too. If you see like top MVC hype moments, most of those are going to be gameplay related, where something crazy is happening. It has nothing to do with like the personal behind the scenes drama of who these personas are. So that's like the question. It's not an easy problem to solve because, you know, pro sports are doing this too. I mean, did anybody expect to see world-class technical boxing in Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson? No. That's not what that fight was. That's not why that fight was marketed. That's not, I mean, a lot of Jake Paul fights are like this, right? Nobody's like, I'm going in here to see absolutely technical excellence in terms of boxing. That's, I mean, I hope you're not, because that's fantasy in my opinion. Yeah, or like, you know, like Conor McGregor just boxing. It's like, okay, well, you know, you're here because of the hype of it, of the story. You're not here because, you know, you think this person is going to be, or Nate Diaz, right? It's like, okay, Nate Diaz is going to just be striking now. No throws, no submissions. You know, if you understand the technical side, you're like, what? This is nonsense, right? And it's just the quote unquote story and the moment or whatever. That's everything. And if you're interested in the technical side of it, it feels like a waste of time. So that's why I don't think heroes and villains are necessarily. I don't know. I disagree. I disagree. Tier lists have destroyed the fun of casual play. Yeah, we kind of cover this. This is true. I think a lot of people think that applies to them, and it really doesn't, because they're too casual. I'll just pick a top tier. Yes, pick a top tier. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing competitively, then Sanford Kelly's advice applies to you. Drives a bit. Come on. I mean, I understand. No, I don't think it's a bad game. I think if you want to say Guilty Gear is X, is this thing, and I do not think it's a good Guilty Gear game, I understand. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just might be a game for a completely different audience than you, and that's fine. Third Strike is ass. I mean, I like Third Strike, but part of me also agrees that Third Strike is ass. So I'm not going to touch that one. You know, I understand. I disagree, but I understand, and part of me, like some small part of me, agrees with you. You don't understand why some players hate fighting against modern controls. Play disconnected, and should SCFU to gold players are proud of their DPS. Out of their DPs after putting their valuable afterwork time to learn the motions of one-button TP will feel like cheating. This is just gatekeeping. I understand. Like, I am this person. I'm this person who put in the valuable time learning DP, and I don't care. Because let me put it this way: if you jump in like an idiot in neutral and you don't care, and the one thing that is saving your ass is that your opponent cannot pull off a DP, you are ass. That is you should have gotten DP'd. And if you didn't, just because your opponent was like, didn't put their time in, you are trusting a gate, like this technical gatekeeping to save you from playing like an idiot. Like, full stop. Right? Or if you're just like, yeah, I mean, I play Modern Zangief in SF6 mostly as a troll, but like, if you are in a Zangief's face and he has full meter, and the only thing that is keeping you from getting killed by Wake Up level 3 is like, oh, he can't do a 720 or whatever. You deserve to get 720. Period. You know? Like, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, you should. You don't have. It's like the skill-based matchmaking thing where it's like, oh, I should be able to just like bully people because they don't have technical skill, and like even if they're doing everything right, like I want that technical gate to save me from like not having to think. I don't think that's true. Absolutely not. I understand why people are upset. I mean, this is true. I understand why some people are upset because they're like, I put the time in. Why doesn't anybody else have to put the time in? But to some extent, this doesn't necessarily apply. Like there's always, so in like Super Turbo, a lot of time at like, let's say intermediate level, right? If you're jumping against Ryu and you can't do Dragon Punch, he has like stand roundhouse, he has crouch fierce. Like there's other anti-airs you can do very easily to punish that kind of thing. And it's not as good as DP in some cases, but if somebody's just playing like jumping in all day, like jumper sweepers, like Goof Troop stuff, you can absolutely counter that without having to DP. You know? So I can't get behind this. But I get why people are upset. We would have been a fighting game Nirvana if it hadn't been SF5 and MVCI horrendous launch. Yeah. SF5's launch was inexcusable. It was inexcusably bad. MVCI? I don't know. What happened at MVCI's launch? I don't remember. I just remember it was like underwhelming. Yeah, story mode that was like not bad. It was like kind of interesting. It just felt the whole thing was low budget. I think MVCI failed at the budget level. I don't think it failed at like gameplay level. I don't know, but that's me. This is true. I agree with this. Having in-person venues is huge for MGC community health. We are missing arcades and cultural spots to socialize in. Our community in SoCal is active, but even here, we could use more permanent places for gaming. Operation a community esports center would be amazing. Yes. I think it's really hard to make... I think it's a good place to make friends. It's a good place to set community standards. And even as a person who has had bad experiences at locals, there's a lot more positive experiences, I think, that come from locals. And there's a lot of times I've seen like younger players like go to locals and just out of like sheer enthusiasm for the game that they play. And sometimes they're not playing. I don't mean even like a popular game, like a current game. Like in some cases, they're taking older games that they just really love, and they're playing it with their friends, and they're trying to get new people in to their game. And that stuff's so much more positive and helpful than constantly just posting online lol dead game or whatever people do. You know, sharing the things that you love is sort of more. I think it's more healthy for the scene than just going online and doom scrolling and posting about things that annoy you or things you hate, you know? So I absolutely agree with this one. If you have a hard time fighting against Zangief, it's because you are allowing yourself. It has been remaining Zangief in SF games exclusive since 2008. The vast majority of wins come from players who insist on flying at me, giving me opportunities to SPD the hell out of them or stun them with combos. Yes. So I am I'm mainly playing modern Zangief as like a troll, and I was just like screwing around, and I somehow got to Diamond. And so in Diamond and SF6, there's a huge gulf between players who let me do like dumb stuff and get away with it, and players who play solid. And the players who play solid, I cannot touch them at all. Like they don't take risks. They don't let me have any space. They don't let me get away with whiffing things. And just through those three things, all my health is gone. Because it is like a damage race, right? And if you don't give him opportunities to approach and opportunities to hit you, you will win that race for sure. Because he has to get close in order to do it, really, more or less. Or make a good read, right? Or because you have to use the armor, you have to do jump SPD. And there's a lot of things he has which are good, but you know, you gotta You got to really use your options here. Hey, what's up, zombie? I'm going over these fighting game hot takes that Ryan Hart posted and the responses to them. All right, one second. I got to hit the bathroom. Be right back. Idle meeting. All right. So yeah, 100% agree with this in my experience playing the Zangief side. But yeah, I mean, I played against. My first character was Cammy in SF6, but you know, you have to play consistent. Virtua Fighter does not need to be made more accessible. False. No, I'm not. I have to do some other stuff tonight. Virtua Fighter has been made more accessible. VF5 Vanilla, which I already mentioned this earlier in the stream, but VF5 Vanilla was already more accessible than VF4 Evo, and I think it's a better game for it. I think people forget that. I think people treat the game that they learn, like if you don't have any perspective, I think people treat the game that they learned as like, this is exactly the right difficulty. And anything that's easier than this is quote unquote accessible and making compromises. And I don't think that's true. You can either have an elite player base or a successful game. Well, for VF4 Evo was kind of both, because VF4 was really popular at that time, because I think the Tekken game that was out at the same time was not popular. So a lot of people moved from Tekken to VF. And VF4 Evo was extremely technical, but it was also, it came out for PS2 at $20. So it was a budget title because it was the expansion, and it had so much stuff to do. It had the quest mode. It had, you know, like all these costumes and everything built into it, right? Because it was before live service, so you weren't downloading skins. You could just unlock every single costume in the game. So VF4 Evo was technically hard and accessible. Or not, it was technically difficult and popular. But the VF5 was unquestionably more accessible. Had to let the cat in. Yeah, absolutely disagree with this, because it's VF5 is a step up from VF4 Evo, in my opinion, for sure. All right, the cat just asked to be let in. He better not be like trying to get out. The problem with Apex, is Apex not popular just because of the technical side? Not enough new people, sure. I mean, there's certain people that are probably just gonna play everything new. Skill floor too high, huh? Is that true of like Valorant too, though? Like Valorant just requires a lot of twitch, like reflexes and aim. It's just like reflexes and aim, right? There's not as much movement. Valorant, you can one-shot people though. Yeah, that's true, but does that mean that new players have a tough time, or do new players get killed? Oh, if you're lucky, you can get a kill. I see. Whereas in Apex, it's like there's a skill ceiling that's so high that a new player or a skill floor that's so high you can't even get a kill. I don't know. Maybe you're gonna be in bot lobbies if you're at that level. Cat's wigging out a bit. Are you on catnip, bro? Are you on catnip? You gotta hit them so many times in Apex to kill them. Yeah, that's true. Just run in the closet now. There's nothing in there, man. What are you doing, bro? Whatever. All right, so I disagree with this. A guessing game is no game at all. This is like the same couple dudes. Like I've seen some of these names before. A guessing game is no game at all. Is always the worst, least fun part of any fighting game. And when you're losing, it bores me to death. You want a fighting game with no mix-ups? What about one with mix-ups that are your reward for good neutral and that don't lead to a loop of guessing games? I'm not sure what this means. So after being rewarded for neutral, you only want the combo and go back to neutral. A mix-up could be a reward. I find it dumb when a mix-up leads to another, then another, and another. Yeah. I mean, I agree that when you have a mix-up, like, you should have options. You shouldn't be stuck in, like, a block loop forever. Like, you shouldn't be stuck blocking a block string forever. I think that is boring. I think people... So, here's my criteria for a good fighting game. Is that both players need to be making decisions. So, by that definition, option selects are bad because there is one correct answer. Right? The attacking player can do one thing that covers both scenarios, and so there is a correct answer, and they choose it. So they are not actually. If you're doing an option select, you are simply going through the motions of a technical optimal solution, and you are not making a decision. So I view option selects as negative because you are not committing to something. And I think this is bad in other games too, like in Go, isn't there like Tesuji and stuff like that, where there's just like a set play kind of thing where it's like, here's the we will now go through the following motions for the optimal scenario, and then you just do it. And I think that's a negative because you're not making a decision. It's just like a knowledge check. And if both players have that knowledge, then you're literally wasting your time. Both of you are actually wasting your time. Oh my God, he wants to go out. Hang on. SF6 should have a new UIs for DLC. True. Based. Absolutely true. This is like, if you focus tested, can you imagine focus testing SF6? Like handing a new player SF6 and saying, okay, go invite somebody to your friends list. Go set up a room and then just clocking how long it takes for a human being to do that. Right? Because we had a room full of fighting gamers who have done these kinds of things before. I could not freaking figure it out in CFN. Mandatory modern controls, easy put auto combos are a poison to the community in games. What's mandatory modern controls? Do they mean having that as an option? Like, why is it a poison? I mean, I don't know. SF6 is doing okay. It has modern controls. Dragon Ball FighterZ had what, 6 years? 8 years? Powerful. When did that come out? That had auto combo and it was fine. You know? Like, I don't know where this is coming from. I have no idea. Because there's so many games with modern controls and auto combo. I mean, technically Marvel had an easy mode, right? Marvel 3? I disagree. No way. Darkstalkers should come back. True. So I always slept on Darkstalkers, and then recently I played it. I was like, huh, this is kind of like all the things I liked about Alpha 3, but this feels better. I mean, a lot of cases. I was playing Vampire Savior. Auto combo like target combo. Yeah, so target combo is like a short version. Auto combo meaning like, you know, in Dragon Ball FighterZ, you can press light, and it'll do like a full combo for you, ending in like a knockdown. And then if you do like heavy, it'll do a combo that'll end in super, like a level 1 super. And so if you don't know any combos, you can just choose your light auto combo or heavy auto combo. It's not a modern control. Like, it's just like anybody can do it. There's only one control scheme. But if you don't know any combos, like, you know, light, medium, then down, heavy, then launch, and then you do like jump after them, and then you do like medium, heavy, and that grounds them, and then you do a super or something like that. Like, that would be a quote-unquote real combo. But you could just be like heavy, and then it would auto do the super for you. And the damage would be less, but it's still like reasonable. It's reasonable damage. You're not wasting your time. I didn't play Modern. Soul Calibur 2 is the best game of the franchise. Yeah, I thought... Yeah, I mean, people like this. Was labbing Dulcimer like so fucking hard? Yeah. I think... I haven't played him much in this game, but I feel like he's the hardest he's ever been. I could be wrong. But... Because I haven't played him, but I think he's... I mean, he requires a different set of skills in every game, so I could be wrong. I guess he does have better projectile options than he has had in a while. Put a poll in fighting games chat, try and measure interest in other fighting games. Oh, cool. So just personally, like, I like SF6, but because of my time is so limited, I don't know that I want to devote too much time to playing it because it's taking away time from, like, my backlog. In other games I want to make content for, my backlog is pretty long right now. So I got to get to work. Otherwise, I'll never get to them, you know? But I do play Strive. I've been curious about Grand Blue. I haven't bought Grand Blue. I will always play Dragon Ball FighterZ. What else do I play? I mean, Super Turbo. I play old games. I'll play a Marvel 3. I think we had some Marvel 3 players in the chat, right? Guilty Gear and Soul Calibur had the most votes. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I would play Strive. I don't play Xrd. I never played Xrd, actually. I missed that game. You are not a great player if you can do optimal combos. It takes muscle memory and practice. The worst that can happen if you drop them. It takes more skill and awareness to know when to do the combos, do the right punishers, and outsmart condition your opponent. This is true. Yeah, I also agree this is not a hot take. Oh, it's an opinion you would defend. Yeah, it's true. Player expression is a buzzword. Every developer says they want it in their game, but most modern games' idea of it is spend resources for combo, etc. Yeah. I think this is true. I think this is kind of true. I think you have to create, if you want player expression, you have to create weird characters. You have to create characters that have a set of moves that don't necessarily work together, and most modern fighting games, I think, are too polished to let that happen. It's very rare you get two high-level players that play in completely different styles these days. I didn't know what games to put. I just googled tournament fighting game. I don't know. There's tons of stuff out there. There's tons. I mean, there's just see what people are interested in, right? If people are interested in like them's fighting herds, like play them's fighting herds, you know. Sometimes there's like other games that are just great to play casually. So I support that. Or you know what else is super fun was DNF Duel. DNF Duel is just like a super fun game to just like mash degen shit on. I think it was pretty wacky. Is that game on sale? I think like nobody plays that game anymore. So, but who knows? Who knows the pricing? How much is it on Steam? $49.99 for DNF Duel. Are you serious? And they're still selling the season pass? Yeah, good luck, guys. Oh, it just had a 70% discount. Yeah. I like DNF Duel a lot, but this game is... I didn't think this game was doing so good that it should still be $50. No offense. Soul Calibur Old still 50, really? Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is the greatest fighting game ever made. I don't care what anyone says. It is the greatest fighting game ever made. And it's got a Hagar. And it's got a Hagar profile. This game is busted, but I think it is great. I would maybe get rid of TAC Infinites if I had the chance, if I could wave a magic wand, but I think TAC Infinites also makes certain teams viable, like Ryan LV, which are fun to see. So, I don't know. Maybe take it, warts and all. I understand. I really like that game. That game is so fun. And plus, there's like a lot of really weird interactions you can get. So, yeah. This is pretty good. It's pretty good. Winning is 9% of the fighting games. What? Whack take. Yes. This is I do not understand this. I had a roommate once who was like, yeah, I love going to the arcade, and then there's some like 10-year-old mashing on like the player one side, and I put a quarter in, I wreck him. I ruin his day. I just kick him off the machine. I'm like, yeah, but why? Right? Like, you didn't prove you were good. You just beat somebody who was worse than you. That's so, like, I find that so depressing. Just to, like, kick over some kid's sandcastle. I mean, if we're gonna get into my hot take, it's the skill-based. Everybody who doesn't like skill-based matchmaking is a baby. And they don't like fighting games, and they don't like games unless they're winning. They don't like the game, they just like winning. You know what I mean? Like, if you just want to show up in a lobby and just, like, bully people who are worse than you, then that is your goal. Playing the game is not your goal. And it actually doesn't matter what game, like, you would play if that's your goal. If you just want to win, like, you could just be playing rock, paper, scissors or whatever, and then just be like, I beat you. I'm so good. I feel good. Like, yeah, but you don't actually care about the game. Them's Fighting Herd's the best fighting game of all time. The people who gave the game a real chance and actually tried came with a very positive experience. I have not tried it. I watched some competitive and didn't really understand it. So that was my like barrier to why I didn't play it yet. But I do want to play it. Got sick of watching 30-second combos with the undizzy gauge. Did fuck all to stop it. I like the game, but the combo system ruined it for me. It's not an undizzy gauge, it's a juggle decay gauge that makes the opponent heavier and heavier the more you hit them, leading them to eventually. Yeah, this is similar to like the hit stun deterioration, right? I think this is fine. I guess I would have to see the combos to see how bad it is. Street Fighter has been good since Ultra Street Fighter 4. Some people saying they prefer vanilla SF4. I'd be interested to see, like, going back and playing that. I only remember, like, Vanilla Sagat. Vanilla Cammy was busted. I don't know. I think 5 got old really fast, but I think 5 was actually more solid than most people these days remember it as. So, I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't think 5 or 6 is like the best it's ever been, but this is like maybe a little too much for me. Yeah, VF4 Evo Final Tuned is the greatest fighting game ever made. Yeah, this is true if you really want that technical Virtua Fighter 4 experience. This is the same as people, I think, who really like Guilty Gear Xrd, because they want the deepest, most technical fighter. But, you know, I kind of mentioned that, like, the throw escape thing and constantly doing ETG and some things, like, I don't think they added that much to the game. They are very technical, so if you want technical skill checks and gatekeeping in terms of technical skill floor, Evo and Final Tune absolutely have. But that's what keeps it from being top in my book. I do love them. I think VF4 Evo is possibly one of the best deals in gaming of all time, where that game is $20 for the PlayStation 2. But, yeah. UFC damage is too low. Overall wrestling match lasting too long. Is it? Yeah, I guess kinda. I guess that's kinda true. But it is nice to have a back and forth where you can snap out characters and stuff like. There would be no value to snapping out and doing like DHCs if characters would just die in one hit. So I appreciate that they did not do that, because I think it would make the game more boring if, you know, there were even more touch of deaths. And didn't the most recent patch up the damage of combos in general? So I don't know if I agree with that. Street Fighter's lack of interest in evolving its story and characters that held the game back, resulting in diminished. Yes, this is true. They always do a story mode in Street Fighter games, like in 5 and 6, which is like the post MK9 era, right? Where they understood that your campaign can make or break your game. But in every case, it has felt like they were just checking a box. It has not ever felt to me in Street Fighter in 5 or 6's campaign that they were like, we want to make this a big appeal. We want to give this like a big push. It felt like some manager was like, we have to have a campaign and a story mode because MK9 did, and then they just made one so they could say they did. I even thought Street Fighter Alpha's like was compelling. You know, like Street Fighter Alpha, where you had all the characters like meeting up and going their different branch paths and finding out what would happen. You know, there's something. Yeah, I don't know. They just don't want to spend the money. They just want to make a live service and sell skins and stuff. True. This is true. I agree. Grapplers should never not be absolute bottom tier. Scrubs made this a reality, yeah. I think grapplers need to be good enough. I don't think grapplers should get paid off for being like playing absolutely idiotically. Like, they should not get rewarded for playing quote-unquote random. They should not be able to literally guess and then beat somebody who is playing the right decision. So I got feedback in both directions about whether to rank VTuber Fight Night. Oh, you meant whether or not to like bother with rank stuff. Kabushi didn't think we should rank. Yeah, and Amasel likes the competition. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm not set on anything. I think it should be organized however. I may not host again because my internet was being weird. And also I may not be able to commit to showing up for a lot of the sessions, so I think that should just go in whatever direction people think is like best. And also like depending on the output, like depending on the goals, right? There's a lot of things that I'm doing to try and guide it towards mass appeal in terms of making an interesting stream as opposed to just like showing up and having a fighting game session. Right? Because it's like the same way with Apex, right? Like you can show up and just like play a session with your friends, but if you want to have like mass appeal as a streamer, you need to like frame it somehow, right? Like I always bring up Team Snakebite, right? Like TSB they were not a top tier team, but they made it so that they were fun to watch, and that meant doing something that was besides just showing up and playing ranked with their friends. So that was like my angle, but you know, nobody needs to like stick to the angle if you A, don't care about viewers, or B, have a different angle that's like better or more interesting, right? Examples, I mean, examples like I would cite for Apex are that when you have, it would be good if it gained us viewers. I think if you want to, yeah, if people's goals are to gain viewers, I think you should frame it in the best, most interesting way that a viewer might watch, even if they're on the border of like being interested, right? And so adding stakes does that. So if you want to do that, like just having a lobby and being like, you know, because it's the classic thing where people are like, oh, I want to grow as a streamer, and then like you look at their socials or their announcements, and they're like, I am playing a game, I guess, come if you want, and then there is like no thumbnail. And it's like, okay, but who's interested in this? Who would click on it? What are they gonna get if they click on it? What is it? Are you funny? Are you like cracked at gameplay? Like, you know, there's just like a branding problem. There's a production problem. Like the whole thing has no like framing. It has no stakes. It has no story. Like what? So I think if you want to gain viewers, I think you have to think about those things. You can't just be like, hi, I am playing video game. And, you know, some people show up, but I think there's like better ways to frame that. If growth is a concern, if growth is not a concern, then I think everybody should just like do whatever they feel like, and that's totally fine. But I do think you have to choose. It's okay to want a patch on an old game. Arcade old guys love to fustigate noobs whenever an online collection decade-old titles comes out, using cracks in the games like infinites and etc. They tell you it's just the way it is and perfect as is. Leroy and Tiny Top 8's 8. I'm tired of patches. That's my hot take. I'm tired of patches. I'm tired of everybody expecting a patch every 30 seconds or else dead game. Because then you have to learn a totally new meta. But like these like live service iPad kids are just like, where's my patch? Where's my support? And even if the game has been out for like 6 years and has had a steady stream of inputs, then they're just like, oh, dead game. I wish the developers would support this. I thought about making a short for a while where it was like if we talked about other games the way live service gamers talk about their game, where it's just like, where's the patch for chess? Queen is OP. Nerf Queen, please. Dead game, chess, lol. No, it's like, okay, yeah, we heard the community. We heard the community complaints about Queen. Now Queens suck. We nerfed Queen. Queen is basically like, Queen is just like a rook now. Sorry. Do you like it? And then next season they just change the patches. Like, they change it back. And then meanwhile, like all of your chess knowledge just goes into freaking garbage, and you have to like just be constantly online to relearn the meta. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. Am I just out of touch? A chess fighting game? Nice. Oh, the pieces fight when they take... Oh, I see. Yeah. Offense is inherently strong and shouldn't be overly rewarded. The current dynamic, blah, blah, blah. Safe offense options and 4 massively unsafe defensive. How should be more even? Like SF4 Bison. So I do agree when the devs say that offense is inherently strong. And offense needs to be rewarded. It needs to be incentivized. I think that's absolutely true. But I am tired of people doing completely safe offense options. It always seems like it is, let me spend a meter, I did a move, I can just get out of jail for like committing to this move, and that just makes I don't know, that just makes it like less fun for me. I don't know. Modern games are probably the worst era to happen to the FGC. Business FGC killed community. This is a little vague, but I kind of understand and I understand a lot of problems with modern games. It's not modern controls for me. A lot of people mention controls, but the thing I don't like about a lot of modern games is that they are live services, so they're constantly being patched. So if you played like, 6 months to a year ago, a lot of your knowledge may be outdated. A lot of stuff that you knew, like a move you may have gone to, maybe sucks now. And probably the biggest problem I have with modern fighting games is because they sell DLC characters. DLC characters generally are going to be good because nobody is going to pay $5 for a character that's ass. So a lot of times a new character dropping and them being busted is not fun. I think it's okay to have like imbalance. I think a lot of people have made the argument that it's okay for fighting games to have imbalances and characters should not all be equally good. And that gives like people something to rally against or something, like Marvel vs. Capcom Phoenix or Vanilla Sagat in SF4. Those were like launch things that were really hard to deal with, but then learning how to do it and everybody sort of rallying against like, how to deal with it. Like that was really part of the fun. Like day one, Street Fighter 4, one of the first things I learned to do, I was playing Chun-Li, one of the first things I learned how to do was to ultra through a high tiger shot full screen and kill Vanilla Sagat. And I hit that so many times because people were like used to bullying others with Vanilla Sagat. And so they would just think they could throw those for free full screen when I had ultra and they could not. Grapplers don't need to be weak in order for a game to be balanced. That's outdated thinking. Yes. I think grapplers should be good. And I understand thinking that it's hard to balance between a grappler being good and a grappler being, like, busted. Very, very... I mean, what was the last game in which a grappler was busted? I think people get hit with one SPD and they're like, I hate grapplers. Nerf grapplers, please. That's my take. Nah, that's all of them. That's all the ones I wanted to cover anyway. You know? Yeah, I'm doing a Metal Gear Challenge run. I need to outline my requirements. It's like a sniper only kind of run. So, but I've been recording that off stream. I don't think it's super interesting to watch on stream. But yeah, I might grab some lunch. Get some shawarma. Shawarma and falafel. The only thing I don't like about that shawarma place is that, like, I wish they had more vegetables. They have these like pickles, which are really good, but I don't know. Yep, I don't know. My voice is already getting so sore. I need to work up to, my throat's getting sore. I need to, like, probably get to, practicing if I want to be a real varsity yapper. Like, I don't know how people do it. Like, I was watching Sunny Explosion yesterday. I was watching some other streamers. It's like, you guys are talking for 4 hours. How do you guys do this crap? Jesus. All right, I'm gonna cancel. I'm gonna shut it off for the day. I need to do some editing later. I'll do that. Oh yeah, I forgot. I wanted to write a dumbass script. No, we got some lunch. Maybe I'll get some lunch and do that on stream. I don't know. I am hungry though. I had like yogurt and granola for breakfast, so I need real hot food. Yeah. 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 All right, take care. I'll be back later. Peace out.